Hey everyone! Today the NHL announced that Washington Capitals forward Tom Wilson's 20-game suspension would be reduced to 14 games. And this was done by an independent arbitrator. If you recall, he was suspended for his hit on Oskar Sundqvist of the St. Louis Blues back in the preseason. Now, the reason why he was suspended 20 games is because this was actually his fourth suspension in 105 games. And head of Department of Player Safety, George Parros, called it unprecedented in his decision. And you're thinking to yourself, well, how do we get here? Well, Wilson actually filed an appeal, which was denied. So he asked for an independent arbitrator who issued this ruling. This is the same independent arbitrator who reversed Ryan Braun's suspension back in 2012 for elevated testosterone levels. And then more recently, in the hockey world, he lowered the suspension of the Nashville Predators' Austin Watson from 27 games to 18 games. Now, Watson was suspended for domestic violence. But you kind of see a trend here, and especially combined with the announced settlement yesterday over the concussions and who's at fault. This is all frustrating. And the reason why I connect the two is, as much as I am a fan of physical forwards, Tom Wilson crosses a line here for me. He's frustrating to watch because he's talented, but night after night, he makes really dumb hits. And I don't say that lightly, but I feel like he goes out there with an intent to injure. And he unfortunately hasn't proved me wrong, considering his track record. His most recent one outside the Sundqvist hit is his hit on the Pittsburgh Penguins forward, Zach Aston Reese, in the second round of the playoffs last spring. And before that, he was suspended 2 other times. And there are a number of other games where you could sit there and say, well, should he have gotten away with that? Or should he have been suspended for that? And it's just an ongoing trend, and I think George Parros took that all into account when he issued the 20-game suspension. And I know there are a lot of people out there who wanted more, myself included, but at the same time, I really respect Parros for the thought he put into it, and to see the suspension lowered is really disheartening. Something to keep in mind here is Wilson will obviously not get those 2 games back, but he will get his salary back, which makes sense. And the Washington Capitals are playing the Minnesota Wild tonight, and he will be playing. And I'm just going to say, I hope to goodness he doesn't hurt anyone. He's talented, but it's so difficult to watch him out there because you feel like every time he's on the ice, he's not out there just to make a hit or not just to make a play, but he's out there with an intent to injure, and it's troubling, to say the least. But please leave your thoughts in the comments. Also, make sure to hit like and subscribe, and we'll talk soon.